to you today about this little cottage industry that I've been trying to get together. Over my life, I have collected quite a number of beads and findings. It originally started when I had intended to make a crazy quilt for myself. And the way that you make a crazy quilt is you embellish the top of the quilt with interesting threads and interesting beads and charms and buttons. I was doing that project back in turn of the century, right around, 1999 into 2004, right in that area. And what I discovered is that crazy quilts are a whole lot of work and an investment of time and money that I eventually realized I really didn't want to do. But I kept all of the materials that I had. And so in trying to figure out how to shift my life away from working 40 hours a week for random employers to turning the skills and ideas that I have into ways to generate profit to pay bills and the like, I thought about all of the different craft supplies that I have. And I also had to pare down all of my craft supplies to fit in my car. And in doing that, I thought, I love to crochet, I love to knit, but keeping a yarn stash in the car was just not something I was willing to do. But I also had all these beads and jewelry making supplies laying around, and I thought, stitch markers are actually really cool and really small, and I could make those and go to places where crochet and knitting happens, and maybe that could work out for me. So when I made the choice to move into my car, I kept a very limited number of supplies. I have 3 containers that my supplies live in, and these are 2 of them. The other is a backpack that contains all of my markers, and like a coloring book and a journal and some other things, but it's mostly markers. These 2 boxes, on the other hand, have my acrylic paints, my acrylic paint markers, and everything that I thought I might need for making stitch markers. So this bag on top is a project that I'm in the middle of, some resin casting that I just did, and so eventually that'll get turned into something. This toolbox here was my mom's tackle box back from when she and my dad used to go fishing when my sister was a kid. So this box is heckin' old. It's at least 50 years old. But I love it, and so I kept it from Mom's estate when she passed away. But she always kept writing supplies in it and such. I had planned to do some painted rocks, and I probably will still do painted rocks, but they don't dry very well in the summer when it's humid out. So that's going to have to be my winter craft, because it's much more likely to dry well. And these are some paint markers that I have. And let's see, down in here is some Sculpey that I have plans for later. I just needed somewhere to store it. Yet more rocks, some gloves, a very cheesy apron that's not really worth much. I think I pulled my paints out. So yeah, my paints aren't in here right now, but normally I keep a set of acrylics in here, and there's some of the brushes for the acrylics. So that's most of what lives up in here. I'll put the Sculpey in there for now so I remember where it is. I'll tuck those down in there too. And so that's what lives in the tackle box. And it helps because the rocks are kind of heavy. Now this box back in the day had all of the ribbons and the interesting threads and the like that I was using for crazy quilts. So this tackle box has also been with me now for about 20 years. But what it keeps now, what lives in here now, are most of the different beads that I've run across or collected, a bunch of different charms I've collected. These are eventually going to get worked up so that they can be used to indicate what size needle or crochet hook you're using. Haven't quite gotten that part pulled together yet. There's some good beads over here. A Lego minifigure. That's Harry Chapin. I don't have his guitar with him, but Oh, and there's a, where'd it go? That's a thunderstone that a friend of mine gave me. She's from Oregon, and that's their state stone. So that lives in here too. My mom's wedding ring from her most recent partnership. Yeah, so all kinds of stuff lives in here. Make sure the lid's down straight. But in here are some other things that I make all of these stitch markers out of. I got some seed beads back in there. These are some of the completed pieces. Hardware for the car. All of my silver findings. Findings are the little metal pieces that attach jewelry together. There's wooden beads in this case. All of my Sculpey lives in there, except for the 3 that you saw me move around the other day. So some of the beads I'm doing are Sculpey. These are beads that I acquired from a friend. This is all the Sculpey sculpting tools live in there. These are upholstery pins, actually, that I use for the roof of my car and to fix my friend's sofa. Shrinky Dink. I've got some Shrinky Dink stitch markers that I'm working on there. They're not ready for prime time yet. I've got some sanding paper here because so many of these things, especially the resin, when you do them, have to be sanded. There's some of the Sculpey beads that are about ready to be turned into stitch markers. What's down in here? Light bulb safety pins. These are more findings. I think these are the gold ones. Oh no, these are transition beads. Some wire in case I decide to do wire wrap. Some beads I need to work with. Keychains. Those are. Some letter beads for spelling out names and the like, and numbers. They're all in there. All of my gold findings are here. Finished product in there. Finished product in there. Some more Sculpey tools. So this case just holds a ton of different projects in various states of ready to go, ready to be sold, ready to be put up, and it is so heavy. Now you might rightly be asking yourself why I'm showing you all this today. Well, I've also, in the background, been working on a spreadsheet that'll keep track of all of the inventory of all the products that I've made, and have spent some time taking all of the photographs for all of these stitch markers to try and have somewhat of a polished look to a sales website of some kind. I've also spent some time reaching out to graphic design people who can help me with shop logos, and that's still in progress, and trying to make things look as professional as possible. Initially, I had researched a website called AFTRA, and I really liked the concept of their webpage, that they're supporting all products made in the USA. That's their big push. After multiple attempts to reach them about not being able to upload photos to their website, I just had to give up on their site. I couldn't ever get a response from the proprietors. So I did ultimately choose to go with Etsy, and I do now have a shop up on Etsy, and I wanted to let you guys know about it so that you could go take a look. And I'm definitely looking for feedback. If you have ideas of ways that the website could be improved, and I don't mean improving Etsy, I can't fix that, but improving my own personal shop on Etsy, I'm happy to hear that feedback. But I'm also hoping that if you happen to be a person who knits or crochets, that you'll go take a look at the product and see if any of it would be of interest to you, or if you are partnered with someone who knits or crochets, maybe you want to get a gift for them. Any proceeds that I make from the Etsy shop are going to go straight into me being out on the road and filming interesting places and sites. Right at the moment, I'm not traveling as a result of needing to get some eye work done. That is in process. I have an appointment August 5th, so that'll be coming up. More on that once I have more to share with you. But right now I want to go in and I'm going to take a couple of either still shots or videos to let you guys know sort of what that process looks like during the course of a day when I'm working on a project. You know, what kind of time goes into hand making items like stitch markers would be comparable to making jewelry as well for those who are curious about the process. Before I go and show you everything related to making stitch markers, I also want to show you the yard of the folks that I'm staying with. So this is my friend's backyard. And as you can see, there's a garden right there in the center. That's the part of the yard that gets the most sunlight, so that's where they put their garden. And what I love about it is instead of it being, you know, nice, neat, tidy rows with beans in this row and corn in that row, it's very, I don't want to say haphazardly planted, but planted the way that plants just kind of grow. So there's a patch of this here and a patch of that there, and they'll support each other or starve each other out as they see fit. You can see some cages out there. Those are probably tomatoes or peppers. There's some sweet corn growing in the front. She's told me what else is in that garden, and I honestly don't remember, but there's a lot of it. Over here, there is a bird feeder. And if you look up in this tree near where I am, there are lots more bird feeders. The front yard is similarly appointed where there's all kinds of things in the front yard. We've also got bird stations out here, bird stations over there. We're feeding ferals over here. There's a little feral cat shelter over there. So lots of wildlife habitat going on in this yard. There's also all kinds of plants. It's a very exciting place. I like the backyard. The front yard is cool too, but this is the backyard. Now these are some of the additional tools that I use when I'm doing stitch marker creation. This is a magnifying headset. So put this on your head and it's got a couple of different lenses inside that you can flip through to get whatever magnification you need. And it's got this little lens here for up close work. Those come in really handy for making sure that the joins are straight on a bead. But right now they're also helping me in general because I am having some difficulty seeing things. I don't have any batteries in the light right now, but this section here is a light that will light up everything. This section here are the jeweler's tools that I use, and this just helps for cutting things and scraping things. And there's also a jeweler's ring in here, which I had never encountered before, but it has come in very handy with making links close up. This piece right here, you can see it has these grooves in it. Those correspond to different thicknesses of metal of different rings, and you kind of wear it on one finger and then use it to manipulate rings as you're opening and closing them. This particular set of tools has come in super handy. Now I also picked up one of these little bead trays. This honestly came from a Dollar Tree, as did this embossing tool. That's what this is here. So the project that's on this platform right now is to take these two sets of beads, and you can see that I've got some gold flake and some copper flake laid out in here. These beads have little indentations on them, and so what I plan to do is put a little bit of adhesive in there, probably a matte finish that I have, and then emboss those inside parts in metal, and then seal the entire thing so that you'll get this nice gold inset part on these beads. So that's a project that's in process. You can see on, is it this bead? Where'd it go? No, this bead here. This white stripe section that sort of looks like Charlie Brown's shirt. I want to go over that. I tried it with white acrylic paint to see if I would like that first. I'm not really digging that, but I'm going to go over that with some kind of glue adhesive, and then put a line of glitter there, and hopefully that'll bring some jus to these beads that they really need that they don't have right now. So this is kind of what it looks like when I'm in the process of turning product into something that would be sellable.